Welcome to this third week of the Advent series, Waiting In. This week is Waiting in Flux, Waiting in Transition. Something I've had some practice in the last few months, waiting for our old house to sell, waiting to find a new house that will become our home, waiting for a baby, waiting for whatever is next in my life. There are so many ways in which we are all waiting for something to happen, but life is still happening in our own lives and all around us. So this week's practice, especially appropriate because the week that this is being released, we're, Lord willing, moving into our new house. So that's a big transition in the midst of this season, Advent, of waiting. It brings to mind one of my cousins has been waiting for her fiance who's from another country. They've been waiting for the bureaucracy for years so that they can have their life together, and yet their lives have gone on in school and in work, through the whole thing. So we are always in waiting. One of the things that struck me about waiting in flux, waiting in transition, the theme for this week, is how much strength it takes. And how much strength we find in ourselves when we are forced into those moments of waiting in transition. So the practice today will be a pretty powerful practice. It'll be a lot of muscle usage, which is good for us and also perhaps challenging. So gather whatever items you want or need. I'm going to make sure everything is positioned well for us to see one another. Blanket, may want pillows, may want some kind of prop to help you be steady. A stack of books, some kind of block if you have one, whatever might help you. So we're going to do our warm-up standing because we are in transition this week. So find a good, steady standing posture. Last week we talked about waiting in doubt or waiting in anxiety and how often we might, anxiety is kind of being worried about the future, concern and living into the future. Sometimes our bodies can do that. I often find myself leaning forward when I'm just standing. So one of the things that we can do to start to train our bodies, our minds, our very selves, to be more present, is to shift our weight to be exactly over our feet and heels. Pull your shoulders down your back so that your chest and collarbones are nice and open. Let's just start by inhaling our arms up toward the sky. You even add a little bit of a back bend in there. And then exhale your hands to prayer position. Inhale up to the sky. And exhale. One more inhale up to the sky. And exhale, prayer position. Take 2 more breaths here. Eyes open or closed. And then spread your feet a little bit further apart so that you have a real steady foundation. Let your right arm just kind of rest down your body. Inhale your left arm up to the sky and exhale over to the right any amount. If you'd like an extra balance challenge, you can bring your feet together. You can even bring that right arm up to meet the left. It's a crescent pose, or banana maybe. If you'd like to add more, you can even kind of shine your face up toward the sky, twisting a little bit. Inhale and exhale. Bring yourself back to center. You might find that steadier, separated posture is better for your feet, or you might like the challenge of having your arms and legs together. Inhale your right arm up toward the sky, and then over to the left any amount. Bring your feet together if you prefer. Bring your arms together if you prefer. Maybe even grabbing that right wrist with your left arm and gently pulling, getting a little bit of length and traction in your arm. Inhale and exhale. And then back to center. A lot of the poses we'll be doing today are super powerful. And we'll be going in and out of them quite a bit. So we'll be focusing on our glute muscles, our thigh muscles, and drawing our core in toward our center. You might even think about it as drawing your belly button toward your spine. So these will be postures that demand a lot of engagement in so many muscles throughout our bodies. Just like when we're in transitions, even when we're waiting, the maintenance of our lives can take so much energy and so much muscle and strength. Let's inhale, arms up toward the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Let yourself stretch a little bit here. Maybe release your head, shake it yes and no. You might even want to put a little bend in your knees. Inhale to a flat back, halfway up. Then we're going to step your right foot back, your right knee down. We've done this many times. But rather than moving with our breath, we're going to move a little bit more slowly. We're going to build up this posture, engaging our glutes, our thighs, even our calf muscles, energetically drawing our legs toward one another, toward the midline of our bodies, drawing our navel toward our spine, or just drawing all of our organs toward each other. Inhaling, arms up toward the sky. The most powerful tool that we have is our breath. And so when you feel like you're at your edge, take one more breath. Deep breath. Hands down toward the mat. Rather than moving all the way through these postures that we've been doing the last few weeks, just bring your right foot forward. We'll do this low lunge on the other side, waking up all of these big muscle groups. Find your balance, drawing those inner thighs toward the midline. Inhale your arms up toward the sky. If you feel unbalanced, maybe begin a body scan from your feet, making sure they're plugged in at the ground, drawing that energy up your legs, engaging those thighs and glutes, engaging your core muscles. One more inhale and exhale, hands back down to the mat. We're going to bring knees back to meet. If you need a little bit of extra padding under your knees, grab that blanket. We're going to wake up our ab muscles a little bit here. I don't know if my room is big enough. Y'all can always make it work. Just like Tim Gunn. Place your hands well, your fingers nice and wide apart. wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Draw your navel in toward your spine. It's harder for some of us than others, and that's just fine. Stretch your right arm out toward the front of your body, your left foot back. Ideally, they would be straight. But if that doesn't work, you can always bend your arm or leg. And then as we exhale, draw your knee toward your elbow underneath your body. Inhale out. Exhale in. Inhale out. Exhale in. One more inhale out. Stretch nice and long. Exhale. Bring them together. Great. Bring yourself back to center. Take a few breaths here to rebalance yourself. Draw that navel toward your spine again. And then we'll do the opposite, left arm out, right leg. Find some stability here as much as you can. Exhale, elbow toward knee. As much as you're able, inhale, stretch. Exhale, together. Inhale, stretch. Exhale, together. Inhale, stretch. One more exhale. And inhale out. And back to center. Great work. We've woken up all of these big muscle groups in our bodies, and so what I want to spend our time doing today is moving into these powerful warrior postures so that we can really focus on cultivating that strength in our bodies, teaching ourselves that in transition, in flux, we have strength. Keep breathing. That's the biggest secret. Inhale your arms up toward the sky. And exhale, step your left foot back. We practiced Warrior One last week. So again, bring that left foot back. It can be at whatever angle is helpful to you. It might be good. You might want to have it totally perpendicular at a right angle to your front foot. That's totally fine. We're at a 45-degree angle. Some people even teach having it almost parallel. Our bones are all put together in different ways with muscles that are all connecting things in different ways. And so our bodies are all unique in the way that we can come into postures. Let's first try just with our hands in prayer position. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, straighten that front leg. Exhale, bring it down. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Let's bring our arms up to the sky. It's going to add a little bit more challenge to these poses. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. We're going to come to center, 5-pointed star. We're actually going to then move our feet so that we're in Warrior One on the other side. Isn't that magic? This helps keep our body balanced so that there's not so much stress and strain and work or flux on one side and not on the other. So you've come into Warrior One, what we would call the left side. We kind of name it depending on which foot is in front. So find whatever foot position is best here. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Just the front leg. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Maybe see how slowly you can straighten your leg and how slowly you can come to your full expression of bending it. It can also sometimes be helpful to think about pressing and putting weight into the outer blade of your back foot. Sometimes it has a tendency to roll. Inhale, one more up, and exhale, bend. We'll come back into this 5-pointed star. Good work. We're going to go back to the right side, so you'll point your right foot toward the short edge of your mat. I apologize for being so out of breath. I'm told it has something to do with the hormones and the space that is in my body at 4 months pregnant. We're coming into Warrior 2 on this right side. So our hips are facing the side of the mat, perhaps the screen, arms out to the sides. We're going to do the same thing here. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. As this gets maybe a little bit difficult, think about engaging your quads, engaging your hamstrings, engaging your glute muscles. One more inhale, straight, and exhale, bend. Good work. Straighten and come into this 5-pointed star again. Let's take a little break before we do the other side. So let yourself lean forward. Here's where you might want to have a prop of a chair if you're feeling like that might be a safer spot for you. Let me show you what that looks like. Or you can just bend yourself over all the way forward. So a chair would be like this. I have my legs straddled. Oh, and I'm nice and on the chair. Maybe I even want to put my forearms on the chair. There's a nice stretch there. Or I may want to just come all the way down. All right, wherever you are, begin to bring yourself back up. We're going to move our feet again. Set yourself up for Warrior 2 on the left side. So your left foot is pointed toward the short edge of your mat. Your right foot might be perpendicular. It might be at a 45-degree angle. Whatever feels like the right thing for you to do. And we're here in Warrior 2. Keep that breathing going, right? Inhale, straighten. Exhale. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. We'll do one more. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Good work. 5-pointed star one more time. Going back to the right side. We're going to come into Humble Warrior on this side. So here's how that looks. So we're aligning our hips forward the way that we do in Warrior 1. And you're bringing your hands behind your back. They may not reach to one another. One of the things you can do is grab a scarf or a t-shirt and let your arms, your hands hold the edges of the scarf or t-shirt. They could even hold the shirt that you're wearing to help you open your collarbones and chest, because this is what the Humble Warrior does, which is bends forward any amount, bowing out over to the side of the inside of your right leg. So one of the things that you can grab a chair again. That might be helpful at this juncture. And it helps to remember that the Humble Warrior comes to the inside of your foot. Those of us with bellies can't go out over our leg anyway. We need some space. So you can be a Humble Warrior like this, holding on to the chair or a block or whatever seems like the right thing for you. If you want to come super deep into this posture, it looks a little bit like this. Inhale back up. Good work. We're coming into that 5-pointed star one more time as we move to come into Humble Warrior on the left side. As you're ready, set up on this side, you might grab your hands, opposite elbows, the back of your shirt, a scarf, whatever can help to open up your collarbones and chest. And bend out over your front leg to the inside of it, any amount. On your next inhale, bring yourself back up to center. Open your arms into that 5-pointed star. Heel toe your feet in toward each other, coming into Tadasana. Beautiful, good work. If you'd like to grab some water, feel free. We've got one more series of postures that are going to be a little bit more transition, a little bit more flux, but you got this. So, we're going to come into 5-pointed star one more time. I keep saying that, don't I? Bring your right foot perpendicular to the front of the mat. Bend into that right foot. But this time, you get to put your elbow or forearm on your thigh. So helpful. Such a relief, right? Oh, beautiful. Now, of course, the challenge is we're then kind of going to open up our bodies toward the side of our mat, maybe even looking up toward the sky. Play around a little bit with your hip alignment or posture here. You might have your hips back toward your back leg, which might feel a little bit more steady for you. You might have your knee bent a lot. You might stretch your left arm out over your head. You might even take some of the weight and sinking out of your right hand. And maybe even take all of that weight off. Draw all of that strength from your core, from your thighs and your hips, from your glutes. Side angle pose. Now, if you want to go a little bit deeper, you could even try bringing your right hand to the inside of your right foot. This kind of extended side angle. I don't really have room for my arm, so I moved it to my hip, wherever feels right for you. Straighten that front knee. Drag yourself back up, coming into that 5-pointed star and switching the orientation of your feet. Coming into that same stretch and posture on your other side. This is a little subtle twist in your back. And again, you can play around with where it feels good for your hips to be. There are different kinds of stretches. There are different kinds of challenges for your muscles and for your bones. And then again, the stretching rather than the leaving any weight on this side, you might straighten that arm. Using it instead to kind of leverage yourself open if you want to. Or placing that hand down on the mat next to your left leg. And then straightening that left leg, bring yourself back to center. Awesome work. Okay, bring your feet together. Coming into our side on the mat. I'm going to tip the camera down a little so you can see a little bit better, I think. This is the funnest part, y'all. We're going to come in to a side plank. This is going to be a lot of flux, a lot of transition, but you got this. You can either have your hand on the mat or you can use your whole forearm. I'll show you both versions. So we're laying on our side, right? Forearm on the mat. You might even put your hand down for a little bit of extra stability. And all we're going to do, we've got our knees stacked, right? Let's bring our hips up toward the sky. So we are in this side plank posture. Another variation is to have your hand being your weight there and to use your feet as the other weight, coming into side plank this way. You can use any combination of those two things too. You can do side plank on your hand and your knees. You could do side plank on your forearm and your feet. Whatever works best for your level of challenge, level of flux that you're looking for. Come into side plank. I'm on my right side right now. Always drawing your hips up toward the sky. Don't let them sink down. A little bit more challenge. You can draw that hand, kind of thread the needle. Inhale and open up. Exhale, thread the needle. Inhale, open up. One more. Exhale, thread the needle. Inhale, open up. Good job. Whew. Bring yourself over to the other side, which of course you can do just by turning around, but I'm going to keep facing y'all. Whatever variation you did on your first side, I suggest trying that first on your other side. As you're ready, bring yourself up. The balance may be harder on your second side, or it might be easier, who knows? If you'd like to try that thread the needle challenge again, exhale your arm down. Inhale up to the sky. Exhale down. Inhale up to the sky. One more exhale down. Inhale up to the sky. Waiting in flux. Good job. We've built up a lot of heat in this practice. And so one of the things that we're going to do coming down to the ground for the end of our practice is allow some of that heat to move around and move through our bodies. So you can sit cross-legged, you can sit in a kind of diamond pose like I am. You can even sit with your legs straddling. You just want to have your knees wider than your hips. Let's take a few breaths here together. And then as you're ready, drop your right hand just down to the right side of your mat, not behind you, just to the side. Inhale your arm up, your left arm up to the sky, and then down to your left, your right knee. This is a twist. You are now twisting. You're good to go. If you would like more twist, if you have room in your abdomen for more twist, which you may or may not, you can start to move your shoulders, start to move your rib cage, and then if it feels okay, I really don't recommend this for pregnancy more than 10 weeks or so, you can move your belly also to the right. All I'm doing here is just twisting my arms, just like you would if you were, flailing them around. Not restricting breath at all. Just providing a little gentle nudge in your spine. Bring yourself back to center, whatever degree of twist you engage. We'll do the same on the other side. Again, if you're pregnant, very gently exploring degrees of twist, and really generally keeping the twist more in your collarbones, your chest, your shoulders. Left hand down to the mat. Inhale your right arm up to the sky and then over to your left knee. And here you are in a twist, right here. Here's a twist. If you'd like more, you can always bring that left hand behind you more. You can start to draw your eyes, your attention more toward your left shoulder. You can draw your ribs, your belly more toward the left side. Continuing to breathe deeply. You may have noticed I usually tend to start yawning at the end of these practices. Release yourself back to center. I found that yawning is a release of tension for me, so I'm definitely releasing tension as we come toward the end of our practices. We're going to lay down into moving toward Shavasana. Not quite there yet. You'll want to grab a block or a book. If you're more than 20 weeks pregnant, I do not recommend this particular pose. What I recommend is what's called Supta Baddha Konasana. Grabbing some props, blankets, and reclining this way, maybe even having more so that you're reclining just kind of like this. Can let yourself melt onto your props that will keep your body at an angle that will not constrict blood flow, which is very important, right? All right, everybody else that feels up to it, bring yourself down to the mat, knees up to the sky, feet in line close to your hips. Grab that book or stack of books. I've just got 2 of them. You may have 1. Press into your feet and lift your hips, sort of like we just did in side plank. And then slip those books underneath your sacrum. It's that triangle bone at the base of your spine that locks into your pelvis. And just let yourself rest on this prop for a few breaths. Take nice deep breaths. Feel your body beginning to cool down and find rest or a new equilibrium after this challenging practice of transition and flux. We're even having a transition right now, aren't we, from the heat and challenge into this more cool and passive posture. 2 more breaths here. And then root again into your feet. Press your hips up just enough to get those books out from under you. If you'd like to, you can draw your knees into your chest, maybe roll a bit side to side, noticing the way that your pelvis feels now. And then we'll release ourselves into Shavasana, that corpse pose, just lying flat on the floor, knowing that our bodies have endured and even found strength in great transition. Pregnant mamas are invited to stay in that Supta Baddha Konasana position. You might find that having your feet straight out, your legs straight out, like this posture is really helpful. You may prefer to have your feet in a more butterfly position, your knees out, your feet with the soles together. Or you might find, any of y'all might find, that you prefer to have your knees together up toward the sky, leaning against one another, your feet a little bit wider than hip distance apart, providing a little space for your back. Wherever you are, surrender to your breath. Let go of forcing it. We've been using our muscles a lot. Try to let go of effort in your muscles. As you're ready, begin to deepen your breath again. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Roll your wrists and your ankles. Bring movement to your arms and your legs. Draw your knees into your chest and roll to your favorite side. Using your arms as your aid, bring yourself up to a comfortable seat. Take a few breaths here, scanning your body. Noticing the sensations that the work you've just done have brought forth in your body. Namaste means the divine in me recognizes that the divine resides in me too. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for this practice of being in flux, being with ourselves while being in flux and waiting. I'll look forward to seeing you all again next week.